Right, we're live. Hello, welcome to Friday Night Live with our special guest tonight, Warren from NQ Explorers. How are you, Warren?
Good, mate. G'day, Ben. G'day, everyone. How you going?
Yeah.
Good to be here.
We'll just get our chats going here. I've got the computer off to the side here, and we've got a live there. We're live somewhere. And we'll get this chat going up now. Right, we better turn the sound off. There we go. So, welcome to Friday Night Live. This week is proudly sponsored by Garrett, and we're actually giving away a Pro Pointer tonight. This is a Pro Pointer 2. We'll go through it a little bit later on, but we're going to change the rules a little bit from last week. We're going to, I've got a special number written down here to the side of me here, and we're going to go through the comments, and that number comment gets wins a Pro Pointer AT Pro Pointer. So mix on, two mix, Michael Gant and Mick are on. Welcome, guys. How you going? So only one comment counts for this tonight. So as long as you comment once, we'll give away that later on.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose we need to. Every guest that I have on, I was going to ask them how they got into detecting. So, how did you get into metal detecting?
How to get into metal detecting? Colin and I have always been really interested in camping, four-wheel driving, exploring in the bush, especially old places where you got old abandoned towns and ruins. Sort of translated eventually into metal detecting, looking for relics. So we bought our first metal detector in Perth when we were in the Air Force in 1978. So it's just about 40 years since we first used a metal detector.
Oh, really?
So that was, if 1978, all that big gold was still out there, but I didn't dig any of it up, unfortunately.
What machine? Do you remember what machine?
The machine I had, we couldn't afford a new machine, so we went to a hire shop and bought an ex-hire machine. It was pretty knocked around. It was an old D-Tex 15 kilohertz Groundhog. It was a licensed build. It was an American machine, a licensed build of the Garrett Groundhog, the original Garrett Groundhog. So that's how we sort of cut our teeth. We went out to Kalgoorlie, spent a week out there. We did a lot of prospecting, but we didn't find any of those big gold nuggets. But the thing only penetrated half an inch into the ground with the mineralisation. So, but from there, we moved into exploring old towns and the logical thing, picking up bottles and pretty rocks and stuff, and eventually into the metal detecting. And consequentially, we've got a shed full of relics. I've got that many I couldn't, and being in North Queensland, it's just awesome because from Cairns all the way to Mount Isa, that's 1,000 kilometres and it's all mineralised. Yeah. So you've got every metal and mineral known to man.
Yeah.
And all the old mining camps from the 19th century and the towns, they're not just towns, but there's old camps out there. And then you've got all the World War II stuff. Of course, Northern Australia was the front line, and right through World War II.
Yeah.
So North Queensland, from a metal detecting point of view, is just awesome. And it's a huge, expansive country, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of place where you can go and camp somewhere on a beach or out in the bush and not see another human being for weeks on end. So it's a great getaway, and it's got the potential for metal detecting, relic hunting, and for gold to be the first to walk into a spot.
Yeah. Which
has happened to us on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
Through not just luck, just through research, which is kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. Research.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So, how did you start filming?
When YouTube was in its infancy about 8 or 9 years ago, I started watching YouTube and train videos and big trucks and all those big machines we all love. Then I stumbled across the metal detecting videos. There weren't many. There were some in America. I'm talking about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yep.
And there were very few Aussies doing it. Not many of them left around now, but there's still a few mates of mine that are still filming on YouTube. And I was watching these YouTube videos, and my daughter said, "Oh, you can go and do that too, Dad." And I thought, "Oh, probably I can." So we took an old camera out and we had a crack. The beauty of making the video, we started photographing finds in the field, which is fun. You come home and look at what you found, in context. But it added a whole new dimension to a trip. Like, you research a trip, you go on the day out, it's a great trip out, or you might go for a few days or camping out or whatever you're doing. And it adds another whole layer to what you find. Is you come back and you review it, and you can edit it and you can publish it. And it doesn't matter if no one watches it, it's a great record of what you've done of your trip. You can look back and say, this was awesome.
Yeah.
So, and that's how we started on YouTube. So, yeah, it's a whole other hobby altogether, virtually just editing and uploading metal detecting videos.
Yeah.
And making it interesting for people. Like, it needs to be... One thing that's always been really important to us is the history and the relative history of what you're finding. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me to go and dig a whole lot of holes and find a heap of stuff and not understand why that's there. I want to know why it's there.
Yeah.
I want to know why there's a certain, there's an 1815 shilling here, or there's an old lady's hat pin or there's a cricket buckle. Why is this here? What was going on out here? Was an old silver mining town, was an old racetrack, and you can often get photos that match it to where you were. It's just awesome to pick up a bit of history. The last bloke that touched this Snyder bullet was a prospector 150 years ago. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's a lot of that stuff there.
Yeah.
Hello, we got 3 Micks on board, and Nadia's here, and Bo. We'll get to your question a little bit later, Bo. And we got some Bob's on from the USA. Pamela and George, everyone's here, so that's good. Right, so I suppose we probably will just get into a bit of research. Now, I suppose the topic of research probably starts in old books more than anything else. You've got a couple there,
yeah, I've got
Warren.
Like, logically, when you think, if you want to know anything these days, you go to Google, okay? Google, in many ways, is our enemy, because if you can Google something, so can everyone else.
Yeah.
And that means if you're looking for a particular site, if you can find it easily on Google, it's not the sort of thing that encourages me a lot.
Yeah.
The places I look for is something I can't find in it. If you can Google something and it's not even there, that's what I want to. That's what I want to research.
Yeah.
So I've got like these old books. These are old out of print books from the 70s and 80s. Like this Frank Dempsey's old book, Mining Towns in North Queensland. More the narrative. Read the narrative. There's no maps and there's a couple of photos. Great resource. Those kind of old books. These ones here are railway books. Narrow gauge railways. This is like the Victorian timber railways and tramways in the Gippsland region. Fantastic old, really accurate maps. Fantastic old photographs where you can match up what you're seeing in 1885 to what you're seeing in 2017.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you're not going to get that on Google.
No.
So where do you get these books? Well, you can get them on eBay, but generally your local library. I mean, everyone knows their own area better than anyone else. So you go to your local library, you look for your out-of-print books or your vanity published books that are just a few published by a local historian or maybe even a local historical society that have that you can't find on Google, because in those resources that aren't available to the general public worldwide or Australia-wide, you're going to find little gems of information. Okay, there was a bank holiday picnic in 1885 at a certain creek bend.
Yeah.
All that stuff's in there.
Yeah.
Like, and it's usually really well described, and there's even photos sometimes. You can go to that spot now, okay, well, it might be on private property or they've concreted it and there's a massive shopping mall there now, but, you got to pick your spots.
Yeah.
But limited run books, old maps, fantastic resource.
This is one
even
I
things
use
like
a lot.
what Ben uses, Golden Ghost. Now, that's written for gold prospectors.
Yeah.
But the maps in that are fantastic.
Yeah.
If you're looking for I'm just pointing from a relic point of view, old gold camps, old mining camps, old towns,
The old
they're all in
pubs.
there. Old
Yeah.
pub, old cob and code changes, all in there,
Yeah.
along with the gold information.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not, and like you were saying last week, you were saying about the mining in Australia, how you've got those GPS for 14,000 mines or something on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Some of those mines, as you were saying, there's just a two-man show. It's just an upside-down Volkswagen Beetle. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of those are lost gold mines. They're not. and they're not even documented, half
Yeah.
that stuff. And
Yeah.
if you can find that, like from these old books and old maps, you can sometimes be the first person to walk onto that ground.
Yeah.
And don't forget grandma and all the old people in your community. You can't Google them.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? And they got more knowledge than Google's ever going to have.
Yeah.
And they'll remember we used to go to a Friday night dance down here on the corner of so-and-so and so-and-so where the old mango tree is. That kind of information, like I'm always encouraged by any topic where there's very little information because it's worth chasing it.
Yeah.
Because that's got us onto some really good stuff in the past where there's just no information on the internet about it.
Yeah.
And that is a really good resource. It's like an anti-Google resource, if you like. But having said that, Google's fantastic too. And like you've got some others examples here, like Trove.
So Trove, let's just I'll just shrink us down. I feel very flash tonight with all this technology.
This is not Ben's back veranda, by the way.
No, we're at the back of the shop tonight, and we've to do this research properly. We needed to show you some stuff on the computer. So we're in the back of the shop. We've got a bit of technology here that allows us to do that. So Trove is it's basically the National Library of Australia, and you should be able to see my cursor on the screen there, and it's got a lot of information here, all the old information about bits and pieces. Now I use this for gold prospecting as well as for relic hunting. So I've just loaded up a few bits and pieces here, and what you do is you'll go to the digitised newspapers, and it brings up a list of all the newspapers, and I've just picked the oldest newspaper in Australia, which is the Sydney Gazette. I think it was first published. We'll go to this next page here. You can click on that, and it brings up the dates that you can look at, what date. So we'll look at the first page of the first paper in Australia, and this is the Sydney Gazette. It's Saturday, March 5, 1803, and it goes through a lot of information. Now the beauty of Trove is it's quite searchable. You can search for certain subjects on, if you're looking for a race meeting in Ipswich, you can search for that stuff.
Yep.
But that's a fantastic piece of information, and it does take a bit to get through it because there's a lot of information there.
Tons on Trove.
And just to, if we skip back to that page, if we scroll through, these are just the newspapers, pages and pages of newspapers and you just pick your dates over here, and there's the Warwick Examiner, 1867, so it'd have a lot of information about gold in it.
Yep.
Particularly that 1867, those early days. So, but yeah, that's Trove, and it's a fantastic little thing. We'll just duck back here and see if we've got any questions here.
Trove actually led us to a really good site. Something like I was just talking about a minute ago, where there's no information on something.
Yep.
We were looking for an old town. It was an old silver town in central North Queensland, and it was marked on the Army topo maps, and we went there 3 times, couldn't find it.
Yep.
The reason was the Army had marked it in the wrong place. It was about 5k out.
Yep.
And we went back and we didn't find any bottles, we didn't find any relics, we didn't find any iron, there was no trace of a town,
Yep.
and it just didn't seem right.
Yep.
And then one night on Trove I found a report from a mining warden where he'd stood on the upper story of the old hotel in town, and he looked out over to the silver mine, which is a mile to the north. So all of a sudden I knew, because I knew where the silver mine was, I knew where the town was. All of a sudden it's a mile south of the silver mine.
Yep.
And on the Army map it was like 3 miles south of the silver mine.
Yeah.
We went out there the very next weekend, and we got out of the car, and there was the old stone flagging from the footpath.
Yep.
There was an old Cobb & Co change station. We got out of the car, and actually we were using an Ace 250 at the time, and I think we found 4 shillings and 2 sixpences all in a windrow on the side of the old coach track.
Yeah.
So there's an example of research working.
Yep.
And it was research that was just true Trove. It was a single sentence in a newspaper article in Trove in 1889 or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like everyone else would have gone to the
Everyone's gone to the
other spot.
Yeah.
And
this can work for gold too, like I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Any of those remote gold mines, especially if you're on not in public areas, or you've got relatives who've got properties with old gold shows on them, if you can find out about those old gold shows where there's not a lot of information, there's not many, there's no mining crushing reports or that sort of thing. Like you've got another resource there, which is the Queensland Government, the Minerals Department of Mines reports.
Yep.
Let's say there's no information on this mine at all. That's great, because if you find it, you're probably the first bloke to find that mine since the two blokes walked out 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So you're going to get gold in the Malachite probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's never seen a detector.
Yeah, and that's the trick to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just go back and we'll just have a quick squiz. I'll just show, before we get onto the Queensland Globe thing, we'll just go here to another thing that, well, a lot of people use.
Peter Dunn site,
is Oz at War. Oz at War is a fantastic little research, particularly if you're into military sites. And what it allows you to do, as you scroll down here, there's a stack of different military aircraft and camps, prisoner of wars. There's all sorts of information on here. But I've just pulled out a couple here just to show you what sort of information's on here. So this is Cooper's Plains, an ordnance depot. Normally in these posts they include a photo, and if there is a map available, normally a good map, go there tomorrow.
Yeah. That's Peter Dunn's site there. It's got over I think he's got over 4,500 pages on Oz at War.
Yeah,
there's so much on there. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's all over Australia too. It's not just
it's not just Queensland.
Yeah. But it really gives you, like, you could go out there tomorrow and put yourself exactly on that corner.
Yeah, you can overlay those old photographs on Google Earth.
Yep.
And even if it's been completely built out, there's always going to be a bit of a footpath or a bit of an old drainage easement that you can still get into with a machine.
Yeah.
And you'll find relics.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just one. I've pulled up another one here. This is in Newcastle, near Newcastle. This is Ash Island's old radar site. Not huge amounts of information on this, but there's a picture, modern day picture of the bunker. Yeah. There. So that's another fantastic little thing that, and that one's Oz at War. So the website is oz@war.com, but it's phenomenal, and there's just endless amounts of information.
Yeah, it just goes on forever. Yeah, and Peter's always. He's always approachable. And he's always looking for information. So if you do have, he's happy for people to contribute to that page if you've got any World War II information, especially on modern photographs of old World War II installations.
Yeah. Righto, we've missed a stack of comments here, which happens all the time. So Bo likes the background. That's Jurakai.
Yeah, that's us at Jurakai. We're actually in the bush at the moment.
I think, no. I think Colleen took that photo, Warren's wife. Right. Yeah, Mick, everyone's loving. Yeah, Trove's free, Cole.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, all these resources are free. You don't have to pay anything for them. So that's fantastic.
Trove is a government website where the federal government has digitised every published newspaper in this country since 1788. Well, the first one's 1802, but that's the first time they got around to print a newspaper.
Yeah.
But that is a pretty amazing resource. You'll find that just every state, every territory, if you do a Google search, you will find articles in Trove, but you can go within Trove and search within Trove for particular items.
Yeah. But sorry about this, folks.
So Trove, use Trove internally. You can search internally in Trove, and you can actually filter your results.
If you do a Google search, you will find articles in Trove, but you can go within Trove.
We're having a bit of
for particular items.
There we go.
Just a computer giving us a bit of audio. See,
if anyone who's watched this is number 4. This is anyone's watched the first few, you'll know that there's technical issues involved in this. So so that's Oz at War. So yep.
So we've got Trove and Oz at War.
Oz at War.
And the mines department for the gold boys.
Stuff. Yeah, I've got that here. So let me just get all technical again and shrink us.
So the other thing you do with, particularly gold prospecting, is all the Australian geological survey maps are available online. You can buy the paper maps, but you can buy them online. There's any amount of software that you can use for overlaying that onto Google Earth or an Army Topo. The way we've done that in the past is you'll mark all your fault lines or your transition zones, your metamorphic transition zones where you've got your country rock and your reefs and all that sort of stuff. Mark that onto your Army Topo. You can usually use that on a HEMA Navigator actually if you want to get really technical in your four-wheel drive.
Yep.
So basically you've got your GPS waypoints where you can't see it because of the grass or whatever, but below you there's a fault line, and there you've got a metamorphic texture zone where you've got a good chance of pinging a few bits of gold or specimens. I mean, you can work with the geology, and it can be a big assistance if you can overlay it on your Army Topo maps.
Yeah, and a lot of this information, if you go to the Queensland Globe website, so again, all this is free, all out there. And your Queensland Globe, if we go to Queensland Globe, what you've got is you've got a whole stack of topics down the side here: mining, property, tourism. We use mining a lot, and there's a whole stack of layers you can put over the top of it. So for instance, I've got mining claims, mining leases and mining claims turned on here, and there's a mining lease right in here. This is just out of Pratton, I believe. This is actually just at the bottom of Talgai State Forest. And so that tells you where the current mining leases are, and you can actually scroll down here and look at historical permits for coal and minerals. There is just a huge amount of information on here as well. You can look at the geology of the place as well. So the surface geology, if I turn the surface geology on, it might stretch the computer a little bit here.
And you can also put your land tenures up, can't you, too, to find out if it's leasehold or private property or if it's state land.
Yeah. So you can look at it and see whether you need a who the owner is.
Who do you ask to get in there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and all these things that we're talking about, you still need permission to get onto the sites. You can't just...
That's true.
You can't just say, Warren told me.
Yeah. or you read in a book about old ghost towns that that's not the authority to go there.
Yeah.
That does cause there's a lot of anguish around the place with landowners, and I mean most people, if you ask them politely, they'll let you on.
Yeah.
It's not really a drama, but just don't go bustling in there and scaring the cows and leaving gates open and stuff.
Absolutely.
But I mean that's the whole point. Access. You can do all the research in the world, but in the end, there are some parts of this country that you're never going to get into.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. People own this private property; it's their backyard, even though it might be 3 million acres.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they don't want strangers wandering around, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Just work. There's plenty of places in every state where you can go prospecting or relic hunting, and I mean particularly the southeast corner, and of course southwest corner, WA. I mean, Perth was established in 1829. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential for old relics.
Yeah.
All your Anzacs of the First World War left from Albany, so they all went through WA.
Yeah.
Like there's military stuff is everywhere, but there's always somewhere you can go.
Yeah.
And there's always something old to find.
Yeah.
There's lots. I mean, Australians have been dropping stuff now for well over 200 years, so there's lots of metal out there.
Yeah. My uncle tells a story of. He went to Vietnam, and they caught the train from Melbourne over to Perth, right? And
and if the government had sent you via Perth,
yeah. And he was in the Navy, so
righto, that makes sense.
And the I think he was on the Vampire.
Okay. Destroyer escort, yeah.
Yeah, and from Perth up to Vietnam, hell of a trip.
Yeah,
he reckons. But he talks about the where they were all camped around Perth before they were left. There must be huge amounts of...
And the light horse all trained all around there.
Did they?
I've seen a 10th light horse badge come out of an old farmhouse east of Perth. The 10th light horse were all slaughtered at the neck pretty much, so one of them survived obviously.
Yeah.
And he dropped his badge in the backyard at the homestead, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean that's a fantastic bit of Australian military history.
Absolutely, yeah. So anyway, off on a tangent we go.
Yeah.
But here, so I've overlaid all the geological formations on here. Now, The trick with this too is they've changed this site a little bit, and you can't really overlay the old gold mines on it anymore. You used to be able to do it with the old Q globe that they did, but you can't. They've taken that off now. But you can put all the mineral the mineral hotspots on.
That Q globe was only changed recently, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
The old one's still available.
Because
You still use the old
okay.
one, but the new one doesn't have all the features on it. They've taken all the historical mines off.
Oh,
So you can still look at the historical leases, but you can't look
See
at
the
the
old mine
mine
sites.
sites.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a. I think for that reason, I think people were seeing the old mine
no,
sites and going,
that's permission.
jumping the fence.
The
and-
government said I can go there.
yeah, exactly. So, but you can still see all the historical. See, here's all the historical. The mines and mineral resource information. Then here's the all the historical permits information here. So that's Queensland Globe. That's a real rough overview of Queensland Globe. But while we're here, we may as well go over to the QDEX system. Now, the QDEX system is the reporting. Every mining company who does some exploration has to. I think it's over. After 3 years, they have to report it to the government what's there. So that's what QDEX is. And as you can imagine, the amount of exploration and the amount of information in this thing is ridiculous. And what you can drill down to is, for instance, I've just pulled up a mine here, an exploration. Well, it's actually a mining company, and they've put an annual report in. So the beauty of this sort of information is you can look at all the geology, the annual report's there. So you can actually read through the annual report, see what they've done for that particular period of time. It's got all the information here. It'll have tonnages, it'll have exactly what they found, what sort of, this is all about the geology of the area. So there's endless informations about this there.
I think this is all. You can go to the mines department and look at the actual hard copies.
Absolutely, yeah. You can do
in
that.
every state.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good point. We're talking about Queensland here for the Queensland Globe and the QDEX system. This is you can go to
Everywhere.
WA, you can go to anywhere, and realistically, you can do it in the States as well. They've got all this information over there as well. So I think every country will have something.
And you've got to remember that if you're going for really old relics or old mineral information in Australia, you've got to go to New South Wales, because
absolutely
this was Queensland was New South Wales till 1864. I should know, but whatever.
I'll hold you to that date.
Yeah, okay, right. And like WA's the only exception, and South Australia, but like Victoria, New South Wales, all the real early stuff from the early, 1788 till whenever the other colonies became established, is recorded in New South Wales, not in the state, not in the current state.
Yeah. So, and with a lot of this information is the old maps. So there's maps here that shows where the fault lines are running through the place, and the highways and the railway lines, and so a lot of that information is quite transferable now. You can go and know exactly where you are on this ground, and there's all legends as well, telling you what the ground is. There's gravel areas in the orangey colour. So so you can really get a good understanding of what's going on in an area. And there is thousands of these. There is just literally thousands of these. There is just pages and pages of information here. This is another thing that they do. They do a lot of aerial surveys. A lot of them are satellite surveys. This overlay, I know it's pretty hard to see here, but this overlay is a quartz overlay, so it tells you concentrations of quartz. Well, from a gold prospecting point of view, these hot spots of quartz, and you can zoom right in on them. The computer's a bit clunky, but you can. We've got a bit running here at the moment. you can zoom right in on them and look at areas like the areas through here, and you can actually put labels on this map and know exactly and walk into these areas and have a look if it's gold-bearing quartz or. That's one thing I quite like.
Yeah, I know from a prospector's point of view, it's awesome.
Yeah,
and also like you were talking from that kind of information and from the layout of the old mines and where they are, you can see where the run of gold is pretty much.
Yeah.
And you can extrapolate that and maybe get lucky with a bit of raw prospecting into new ground or something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you can often find there's a lot of gold here and there's a lot of gold there, but it doesn't seem to be the old timers in front of in between.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the first place I'd go.
Yeah.
And have a look.
Well, quite often they didn't have metal detectors, so they couldn't see into the ground.
And if they couldn't pan any colour in the creeks, they were never going to get lead to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's sort of I suppose people have a whole stack of questions about what we've just talked about, and that's a really quick run through of what
basically you've got a ton of resources, whether it's gold hunting or relic hunting or
exactly, and that's just the tip of the iceberg with research. Like we could talk for hours.
And I mean, often your research comes to a dead end, not because your research was badly done, it was because when you get there, the whole thing's been concreted or bulldozed or
there's houses over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or I've found some old mining camps, the ground's that stony and rocky. There's no topsoil, so when you get there, they're not going to be any relics because they just bounced back up again, or the kids picked them up. Way back in the day.
Yeah.
And even though they look potentially on paper like fantastic spots, you find very little. But that's the luck of the draw. Other days you can walk into somewhere and there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah. And you were telling, are we sharing the information? Well, probably a bit late after I've said that, but you were talking about some fossils through the week.
There was a recent newspaper article down in Brisbane here. There was a large fossil bed it was discovered, I think, in the 1930s or 1910 or something. And now they're developing it for housing or industrial purposes, and so the Queensland University is doing a big fossil dig.
Yeah.
And they reckon there's some pretty awesome fossils in there. It's one of the best sites in Queensland, so I don't know whether they're developing it, but that's an example of information that just fell in my lap that was, I mean, I'm not a fossil collector, but I mean, it just fell into my lap because it came in the local newspaper.
Yeah.
But often you get information like that about historical sites.
Yeah.
Or they're doing an archaeology dig. Of course, in that case, I mean, it's off limits if it's historically listed anyway, heritage listed.
Yeah.
If it's nationally heritage listed, or it's state heritage listed, or it's council heritage listed, or it's in a national park, or it's off limits anyway, which is fine. But it can lead you to peripheral stuff that that you might find out there's a heritage listed site here. Okay, so the government's working on that, but that might have been set by a race course and a pub and a cop and case station that aren't on the heritage register, that are on private property or in public land, and you can get in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it all works fine, it's all there.
And a lot of that Cobb and Co stuff is all on roads now.
Yeah, I know.
Or on,
Cobb and Co they were everywhere. Yeah. Like there was the world's biggest staging company.
Yeah. And I mean, the one that ran out from Brisbane to Warwick, it ran through Spices Gap.
Yep.
And a lot of that road's still gravel.
Oh, okay, you can follow a drive up through there.
Yeah, follow a drive up through Spices Gap and Well,
the thing about Cobb and Co is because they had to change their horses, from a relic point of view, especially in western districts away from the coast, you can find spots where there's the old change station in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's never, these days it's still in the middle of nowhere. So like I think it was every 15 miles, I'll make the number up, but every 15 miles they had to change a horse,
the
horse team. So every 15 miles there was a pub and there was a change station.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've found Cobb and Co sites like that where there's two known sites and they're 30 miles apart. Okay, there's got to be another change station somewhere.
Yep.
And it's not on just bush. It's just Gulf Savannah or something. It's always going to be on a creek because they needed water.
Yep.
So you look for a big creek 15 miles between, and you're going to find it. It'll be there.
Yeah, yeah.
Just look for the bottles in the old iron. There's going to be beer bottles there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that Cobb and Co. There's just hundreds and hundreds of Cobb and Co stops.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Apart from the southeast corner, there's plenty of old Cobb and Co hotels that are still standing.
Yeah.
Especially around New South Wales, but out western Queensland, where most of them were timber and they were all eaten by white ants a long time ago, or burnt down during some crazy New Year party. they're not there anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only evidence is a stone floor, or some of these places you've got to actually walk onto it
Before
to actually even see it.
Yeah,
You've got to be right on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why things lay undiscovered, because, I mean, Australia goes on forever. It's massive.
Yeah.
And to even suggest that anywhere in this country, and I'm talking about gold too, is hunted out or there's nothing left,
Yeah.
you're having yourself on, because there's plenty for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah...
We've answered questions here, eh?
No, we haven't answered any questions. We've just been chatting there. Much like we do in the bush sometimes.
Yeah, I know. We never get any detecting done, it's just chatting.
Chatting, yeah. Michael, yes, we'll put those links to those sites in the description underneath the video when it comes up. Undiscovered sites around Gympie. Well, I think there'd be a lot of relic sites around Gympie.
Gympie. I mean, Gympie's the town that saved Queensland, because the Queensland Treasury had I think they had about two pennies left in the bank.
Yeah.
And some bloke burst in the door, I found gold in Gympie.
Yeah.
It was on.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd already been to Warwick, but Gympie was really rich, as everyone knows. You can think how many people rushed Gympie.
Yeah.
I mean, Gympie's a big modern town now,
Yeah.
but there's still all around Gympie. Not just the sites where there's a poppet head and there's a mine and there's known diggings, but those old diggers, they spread around. I mean, they were gone for tens of miles in all directions looking for another Gympie.
Yeah.
So you could be in the middle of nowhere and you'll find a horseshoe, okay, or a campfire.
Yeah.
You find the campfires with your metal detector, charcoal.
Yeah.
As you know, you're prospecting and you get a great signal as charcoal. Well, that's probably could be an old campfire.
Yeah.
So you look at all those old Queensland rushes, and like Canoona, which is Canoona, up at Rockhampton, the famous rush where everyone died. Relics everywhere.
Yeah.
Because all those blokes wandered out into the middle of the bush and they had to camp somewhere and they had to stay there and they had to bring everything with them. There were bullickies going with them, there were horse teams, and they didn't... Okay, there's the well-known gold areas where they were prospecting and they were camped and they were working, but they spread out everywhere because they were all looking for their little patch of gold. So try every gully.
Yeah.
And the thing is to look at for old mining camps. This is from a relic perspective. If it looks good to you for a campsite, you walk, this would be a great place to camp. It looked good in 1885 too.
Yeah.
So they camped there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were camping in the same spots as we are.
Yeah.
So often you can find those little inside creek flats where there's a nice bit of water and you got a bit of flat ground, somewhere to tie your horse up and lean your Snider up against a tree. That's where they camp.
Yeah.
And you'll find beer bottles, or you'll just find a bit of broken ceramic, or you'll find matchbox tins, the old Bell and Blacks and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You're onto something.
Yeah.
And you can, like I said, I keep saying, you can be the first person to walk into a place.
Yeah. So we've got Peter here going. Kylie's here. Kylie's looking for someone to take boy over the holidays close to Toowoomba. I know there's an old halfway down the range. There used to be an old swaggy camp in the Great Depression. I think that was that. I haven't been there. Hey, this bloke must know you. Reese is on here. Warren Hollywood McGrath. Hollywood, superstar. Yeah. So Reese is on, and Cole's here. We talked about those sites around Gympie, and I'm sure Cole, if that question was more about gold, I'm sure there are pockets of areas around Gympie that are still got gold on them. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah.
Like I said, if you get just need a little isolated piece of mineralisation, then there's a little patch of gold there that the old timers are never going to find because it didn't run into the creek or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or they couldn't see it.
They couldn't see it.
Yeah.
There was no quartz on the surface.
Yeah.
There might just be a little string at 200 under the ground.
Yeah.
You're going to hit it with your metal detector.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Nadia, I think that fossil site was in Springfield.
Or somewhere around Springfield.
Yeah.
It's out, they're keeping it quiet where it is, but
yeah.
Having said that, they published an aerial photograph of it, so I think you could find it.
Kelly makes a really good point. It's about the fun of the search, and half the fun is I find is the research. Like
you spend all night researching something. It's so much, and it's a thrill of the chase.
Yeah.
You find that little bit of information. I'll tell you what. At the moment, I'm onto a 2-up school. This 2-up school, you can't find on Google, which is, like I said, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got it from an old transcript of an audio interview from an old lady who said this is where the miners used to play 2-up, and she gave a rough location of plus or minus 100 metres.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited I can find this 2-up school.
Yeah.
Because what happened was they had a big bust there, and the police came in from everywhere to bust the miners, because what was happening Friday night, all the miners were getting their pay.
Yeah.
They weren't going home.
Yeah.
So mum and the kids are all sitting at home, and dad's not coming home. He's drunk playing 2-up. So they complained to the police. Actually, the wives actually started the bust, say this is what happened, and they busted up the 2-up school.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's potential to be some pretty good old coins in there.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of research you're talking about there. You get the thrill of, here's a little bit of information about a 2-up school in location X. Let's Google that. Doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I suppose we'd better mention...
the Pro Point.
We are sponsored tonight by Garrett.
Garrett Australia.
Garrett Australia. And we're giving this away. So we may as well show people a bit of how it works, I suppose. For those that don't know, a Pro Pointer is, once you detect the target and get the target out of the hole, mostly then you go and use a Pro Pointer. Now, as you sort of come, I'll just use my rings on my hand there, but as you come closer to it, it'll start to tick, and then when you're on it, it'll give you a solid signal. So that's basically what a waterproof one does. Garrett's are probably the pick of them on the market at the moment. Well, certainly the Carrot is. It's waterproof to 3 metres, and the beauty of it is you can actually ground balance it. So we've got some really heavily mineralised, this is ironstone here. I'll just sit it on the back there. But when you put that down on the ground, it just goes, it just hears the ironstone. But you can put it there and push the button once and retune it, and it'll still hear a target. So it's quite a...
and it's got 3 sensitivity settings.
3 sensitivity settings, and you can run it on quiet as well.
Underwater,
Yeah. So it's a fantastic little thing, and we'll pick that prize giveaway at the end of the stream. So we're going to give that away tonight, and first thing Monday morning it'll go in the post to you. They're about $249, so it's a good little prize to win. Thanks very much to Garrett.
Australia.
Yep. So what do we got here? Justin's off to work, mate. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's tough.
You can watch us later.
Yeah. Well, the replay will be on soon.
Yeah.
So Nadia's can't wait for Christmas holiday. She's going to just be detecting all Christmas holidays.
Well, you got a couple of weeks, Nadia, to keep researching.
Yeah.
Get your research fine-tuned.
Yeah.
Actually, the thing about what I'll say about research too is recon. So you've researched a great site. The rule I always use, Ben, is it takes me 3 visits to a site to start pinging good relics. And this would apply to gold too, probably.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking for an old gold mine or
something,
take
30
take more than 3 trips.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bad example, gold. But you've researched a place, you've got an old town plan, or let's say you're looking for an old gold camp. You walk in and it's nothing like the map, which is usually the case. The reason is that when the Surveyor General in Brisbane gazetted the town, he drew a lot of little rectangles and called it so-and-so street. But out in the bush it's not like that, because the landform's different and people just camp where the best place to camp was. So you get your first trip, you go in and you get the lie of the land. I might even pull my detector out on the first trip.
Oh, okay.
Colin and I'll just go and wander around, have a look around, see where the old house sites are, where the crushing battery is.
I haven't got that much control. I'm just...
Oh, no.
I've got to take it with me.
This is what we do. Yeah, I know. Now, I probably will have a detector with me, but... so, look, gold is a good example, or the old tin miners, the old tin scratchers. They're not going to camp far from work. They're not going to ride 5 or 6 kilometres on horseback to work every day. They're going to camp right on the job.
Yeah.
That's their lease.
Yeah.
Once you get the lie of that land, then you start detecting, and you might find a few targets, but I always find the 3rd visit, you start to pick up familiar landmarks. I can see what this is. And if you come in at something from a different angle, especially where you've got a lot of grass or it's thick scrub or something, you start seeing things you didn't see the last 2 trips.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a little brick wall, or there's a bit of concrete. That was the front step to an old house that you didn't see.
Yeah.
And once you see those sort of features, you can detect it much more intelligently instead of just wandering around the bush.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to points where we've found so much that we've actually pegged and gridded for relics. Which you'd normally only do for gold.
Gold, that's right.
But you do it for relics, because we found so many relics, and we just were worried we were missing stuff.
Yeah.
And we gridded it, and we went backwards and forwards, and then we went 45, and then you hold your tongue a different way and do it again.
Yeah.
And you still find stuff.
Yeah.
So I always think it takes 3 trips to get familiar with a site. Like, I mean, okay, you might have a good trip and jump out of the car and find awesome stuff straight away, and this can happen with gold.
Yep.
But usually you need to get to know the country a little bit before you're really successful.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, I suppose I do a similar sort of thing with gold prospecting. If I go into an area, particularly if it's like if I think it's very heavily worked,
Yeah.
and you know, I've had a couple of trips and haven't found anything on a mine site or an area that I like the look of, or a lot of people have been to, I will then sort of come away 500 metres or a kilometre from the actual established gold field and look for a similar
Yep.
sort of country around
Yeah.
outside to see if that run of gold has come through
Yeah.
in a certain direction.
Yep.
Or
And like you were saying to me last time we were out at Jurakai, if you start go into the trash, go into the bullets, because if you're finding bullets and digging up bullets,
Absolutely.
it hasn't been detected.
exactly, yeah. There is areas like
Yeah.
so. Warwick's been there. Well, it's been a phosking area now for. Well, this is Jurakai out the back of Warwick. It's been a phosking area for probably 3 years now, maybe 3 or 4 years. If you're walking into areas of Jurakai and you've got bullets everywhere
Yeah.
and what have you, people normally pick that stuff up and put it in their pocket.
You
Not
don't-
everyone
yeah.
does, but most people pick it up and
But
put it in their
if
pocket.
it's 4 inches down and it's still buried, then you know it's.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the beauty of that. So.
But that takes some patience, but it's worth doing it.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
That's where you ping something.
look, you go into an area like where you're at the Puddler there. It's the first gate into Jurakai. You go detecting around there. It's not a bullet to be found.
Yeah, it's
Like there's
clean.
nothing.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get any signals.
No.
Where you go third gate down or fourth
Yeah.
gate down and pick an area that's got some trash in it.
Yeah.
That's where you're.
And get out of the side of your car.
Yeah, exactly.
Make an effort to get off the track and get well into the bush.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing is don't do what people have
Yeah.
normal people do. When you're walking through the bush, particularly gold prospecting, I like doing this. If I find myself walking between two trees, everyone else finds themselves walking between those two trees.
Yeah.
It's the gold's either side of you.
Oh, I know.
You know, you're walking past it. So, so that's
You do get drawn to features and you detect towards the features.
Yeah.
Which it's, and you got to consciously barge into the thorn bush and start detecting, because that's where you're going to find something.
That's where it is. Yeah. It's not out in the
Everyone
open.
else went around it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, okay, you will find it. You find gold in a bare patch of ground with no grass occasionally,
Yeah.
but normally it's in the places that people haven't had they just couldn't be bothered getting to.
Yeah.
Under logs and stuff, and
Yeah. You'll see that.
around logs.
You'll see that, particularly out at Warwick. There, this. You know, you'll rake and you'll take all that stick away so you can really get close
Yeah.
to the ground. So, I mean, that's another story again. So.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah. But yeah, so and gold prospecting is a real. You know, you've got to look at those structural.
Oh yeah.
You know what's going on in the ground, and you know, sure you can look at all those maps we showed you before, but unless you put your feet on the ground and have a look at it.
Well, you can belt around the bush and get lucky, but like in that video we did out there a couple of months ago, you can maximise your chances by looking for certain features
Yeah.
and doing some things and looking in certain areas.
Yeah.
Gold is where you find it, but often it's not where you find it.
No.
Often it's in a place where you didn't expect to find it.
But
That's the beauty of gold.
that last little patch we did, that was sort of classic
Where it was supposed to be.
where it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It was inside bend.
The bigger gold was upstream of the little gold.
It just made
Yeah.
complete sense. It was all sitting on the clay.
Yeah, it was a textbook example.
Yeah. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
You know. We should actually probably do a video on that spot and do an overhead and put
Yeah.
some cones down or something
say,
or other, and
to look
show,
at the run of the gold in the patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that'd be. I think people.
And
would
I mean,
find
like
that.
we were saying the other day, that ground there, boy, there'd be some fine gold in it. Like
Oh, yeah.
below detectable size I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, so
But once again, to get back onto the research and gold in particular, gold and ghosts, I mean, that's kind of has been the detecting Bible for many years, but don't forget we're all reading the same book.
yeah, exactly.
So you've got to think outside the box and, like you said, extrapolate it a little bit and look into an area a bit beyond, or where do you think that might have gone?
Yep.
If they're working here and they're working there, was there no diggings in the middle or
Yep.
whatever? You know.
And we're talking about, and I don't know whether it's the same run of gold, but the Chinese worked at Cooper's Plains and that run of gold runs all the way through. Well, they talk Indooroopilly's got a reef
Yeah,
underneath
yeah,
it.
yeah.
All the way through Mount Cootha, Enoggera Forest, all had mines on it in the turn of the century. And then I suspect it's the same run of gold as Gympie.
Yep.
Like when you look at it on a big map, it's the same
Yeah, it is.
run.
It's on the
So-
same longitude, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. So, that's the sort of areas where
Yeah.
you think so. Yes. G'day Phillips here, Kelly, how you going? David Rowe, found good gold under trash left by the old timers.
Exactly.
Absolutely, because no one's people have been there before with a detector. No one's bothered to pick up the sheet of iron.
No.
Check
I know.
under the sheet
It's
of iron.
Gold's the same as relics. I've found awesome stuff under a sheet of corrugated iron.
Yeah,
A few snakes too, but
yeah,
But the thing is with I was in WA year before last, and out in Kalgoorlie, where the bottom there was 5 or 6 metres down, so the old timers had sunk all these vertical shafts down to the bottom. It was an old deep lead,
yeah.
and it was like the surface of the moon. Every 10 metres there was a shaft.
Yeah.
But there was plenty of blokes that, not now, but had in the past made a good living out of just detecting those collars
Yeah.
of the shafts, because the old blokes were throwing out just as
Yeah.
much as they were digging up, because they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Especially in WA where you've got no water and it's all dry blowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really hard to see red gold in red soil and,
yeah.
with no water.
Yeah.
But that's a good example, like you said, under trash or old timers rubbish. If you're digging old Bell and Black matchboxes out of Mullikeeps, no one's detected that Mullikeep.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
That's where your little VLFs, the high-end VLFs are really good with a little coil
Yeah.
in that situation,
Yeah.
depending on the mineralisation. But pulse with a big coil, not so good on those Mullikeeps. If you get in there with a high-end VLF, crank it right up, little coil, you'll ping those little specimens and the nuggets that the old-timers have dumped.
Yeah.
And, well, to them, they're not looking for 0.1 grammars,
No. Well, here's
like we are.
Here's a bloke. Don here says he's chatting to a bloke at Evans Head the other day. Showed him a 1.6 kilo nugget from WA.
There you go.
That I wonder whether that was one of the old.
The old timers probably threw that out. Someone probably got shot over that.
Yeah. So, Zena's here. Hello, Zena. We all want a nugget to retire on. Don't worry about that, Zena.
Oh, they're still out there.
Yeah, they are. Ivo. G'day, Ivo. How are you? I think that's how you pronounce it. Don't hold me to that. Adam's here. Kelly. Greg would love the Pro Pointer. Phillips on the gold panning kit out at Bingara. Found gems and tumbling them at the moment. See they come out. Oh, that'd be bloody interesting. Yeah, Philip.
Yeah, it's not just prospecting. It's a lot more than there's plenty of gem hunters out there, and diamonds and gold are all often in the same place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sapphires, rubies.
Yeah. Well, out at Warwick there, it's known as a gold field. They found diamonds out there previously.
Yeah.
So, right. So, we're getting on
with the last week's the bounty hunter machine you gave
Oh,
us.
yeah.
That photo. You're going to show us that photo.
Yeah.
Of the winner from last week.
Let me
That was a great picture.
Let me do that. So last week, Aaron won the prize and gave it to his. I think Charlotte will probably be in bed by now, you would think, but
there she is.
he sent me a picture. Hang on, we'll get it there.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. There's Charlotte with her bounty hunter machine. So I'm really, really happy the machine from last week went to someone who clearly is going to enjoy it and use it. I think Aaron does a fair bit of detecting himself, so I think she's going to...
she's probably got a couple of gold sovereigns under her belt already.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe she's dug them up and Dad's claimed them or something or other, yeah. But there's Charlotte, so that's fantastic. So hopefully this Pro Pointer goes to someone who uses it just as well and appreciates it just as much as what Charlotte did. So that's phenomenal.
These Pro Pointers haven't been around that long, really, have they?
No.
We were the old school, just hand sorting,
Yeah.
which we still do sometimes.
Yeah.
I thought these were a bit of a gimmick at first, but it wouldn't be without it now.
Yeah,
Like, Pro Pointer, I mean.
absolutely.
Really cuts down your recovery time.
Yep.
And that means you're digging more targets every day, which is what you want to be doing.
Yep. Yep. And do you use this one, don't you?
Yeah,
you use the
Carrot,
Carrot. Yeah. And they just run on a
9-volt battery, lasts forever. It's got a come and find me alarm, basically. If you leave it on and you leave it behind in the bush, it'll start yelling at you, it'll chirp so you can find it. And because I've left them behind in the past. Not now, I've got a Kevlar lanyard, but that's got a lanyard hook on it actually.
Yeah.
But it's got a low Pro Pointer alarm, it's got a low battery alarm. That 9-volt battery lasts forever.
And a light.
A light. It's good in the salt water on the beach too.
Yeah,
Great
waterproof
on the beach.
3 metres. Yeah.
So, and the way this machine, this it's a metal detector. It's sensitive. It's like a barrel-shaped transmission field. This is your sweet spot in here. So, like, you can easily pick up 0.1 grammers nuggets with this detector.
Yeah.
And that, especially on gold, little gold. As you know, modern machines are necessarily designed for small gold because if you're looking for little gold, you won't miss the big stuff. That's what most hobby detectors are getting, those little nuggets, and this really cuts down your recovery time. Fantastic. You won't need it if it's a 1 or 2 grammer or bigger, fine. But I'm talking about sub-grammers. That's really good to isolate your target in your mulliquet. Great tool.
Yeah, they're phenomenal, and we're giving that away tonight, and it'll be sent out Monday morning. So that's very good. Henny's just on here, and she got a 4500 going out to Warwick after Christmas.
Good luck.
So good luck, yes. And look for those bullets if you're finding bullets out there.
If you're digging targets, go into the trashy areas.
Yeah. You'll be
and the beauty of having the 4500, you won't be able to discriminate anyway. Just dig all the targets.
Dig everything. Yep. G'day, Linda. I'm glad you love the show. Nadia wants us to run tag along tours.
Oh, okay.
Geez, that'd be pretty.
Where are we going to go?
Somewhere exotic.
One of your spots, though, or Tahiti.
Tahiti.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that'd.
There might be some relics in Tahiti.
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
There's Aaron. Yeah, she loves it. Great. I'm glad Charlotte loves it. So, Aaron's still here. So, who else is here? Tim. Tim's congratulating Charlotte. So, lots of congratulations for Charlotte.
Yeah, it's good to see. Prize go like that.
Oh, it just fitted perfectly. Just one of those things.
Great to get the kids involved.
Yeah,
because they love digging up treasure. The word treasure.
Yeah, exactly. Treasure's
bury a treasure chest in the backyard for them.
Yeah, and that machine's got emojis on it.
Yeah,
which is the language they talk
for those kids.
Yeah.
It's good.
So,
I mean, there's a huge potential for the growth of the hobby in Australia.
Absolutely.
For kids in the relic area.
Yeah.
Like you look at the United States, 370 million people, whatever it is, very relic centric. Of course, they've got gold areas like the California.
But they don't get into it.
They're not like Australia.
No.
And I mean, we've got more gold fields anyway.
Yeah.
But Australia, it's all gold centric pretty much. There's a huge potential for growth in relics, and that's where the kids will like. Gold prospecting can be hard work.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And it can take a long time to ping a piece of gold.
Yeah.
Kids haven't got that kind of patience.
Yeah.
Like you were saying last week, they need to be rewarded really quick.
Yeah.
And relics and modern coins, and you go to all these modern playgrounds in the parks, and you don't have to worry about digging holes there because it's sand or something. You're going to find $1 and $2 coins, or you might find someone's diamond ring, that come off when they were pushing the kids on the swing. The kids are going to be rewarded. They'll get a bit of ice cream money in 20 minutes there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's pocket money.
Yeah. It's all spendable.
There's some kids that come in here, and their mum sort of dried up the pocket money now. They got to go and find it. So yeah. And Michael, yes, I can confirm that Warren is wearing the same shorts again. Look at that. There they are, Michael.
I've only got one pair of shorts.
Yes, so it's all good fun. He wants to call it tag along with camo shorts.
A tag along with camo shorts. All you have to do is have camo shorts to come along. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Where we go, I don't know where we're going, but I know we could I mean, that's a great idea. What we got from anyone who went to I know this is not relevant to anyone in the state, but we might even be able to do this interstate next year. We just had a detector day out at Warwick last month.
Yeah.
Come one, come all, doesn't matter what brand you're swinging. And it was just great to meet like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Everyone loves being in the bush. It's a good day out.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and even if you don't find anything, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you do, well, good.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of the hobby. It's just getting back to the kids. It's so good for kids. Just getting them out of the house, and it gives you a reason to go camping. It gives you a reason to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Like even for Colleen and I, you do a lot of research, and you want to let's go for a holiday for a week. But if you find a place, let's go to this. I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea to camp in the desert for a week at a ghost town, but you know what I mean. It gives you a purpose for your trip.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you have a lot of great fun, and most of the time, out in those places, if you're self-sufficient with your van and everything, and your four-wheel drive, you don't see another soul, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I find that since detecting, and we tend to go on more holidays because something will pop up, and we want to go and have a look at something, and and you're more every
weekend away. You can get away. It's just there's nowhere in this country. And no matter where you live in this country, you can find coins and relics. If you're not near a goldfield, there's going to be something you can go and do.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, every town.
Yeah, every town.
Like if you're in, particularly in, you were saying in WA, no one does relics.
Yeah.
It's all gold based.
Yep.
So it's, the relics
WA
in WA
is a. I'm not saying the people you guys in WA are throwing relics over your shoulders, but I've seen some incredible relics come out of WA as a byproduct of gold prospecting, obviously. The stuff that no one's looking for relics in WA, pretty much.
Yeah.
They are, but I mean, it's predominantly gold, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. Kelly talks about her boys love digging holes. They see who can dig the biggest, the deepest hole. So they'd be good diggers to have around the place. So.
Hello to Nathaniel. He just turned up on the feed there.
Oh, that's good. Don asked, "You think your 300i would be any good on the gold?" It's probably because it's a fixed ground balance. It'll tend to start to struggle a little bit.
It's a metal detector. Gold's metal. It'll find gold.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that comes with a big however.
Yeah.
I mean, Colleen's found a 4-gram gold nugget with the old Ace 250.
Yeah.
So the 300, if you're going to take a 300 to the goldfield, yes, it's a fixed ground balance, like Ben said. It's a medium ground balance. It's like an average ground balance for neutral soil, so it's not going to suit that kind of soil. To maximise your chances, you'd probably put a double D on it.
Yep.
Put the 5x8 double D on it. Run it in zero discrimination, and your control you've got is your sensitivity.
Yeah. And you might have to knock your sensitivity back
quite a bit. But having said all that, if you're not going to miss an ounce nugget at a reasonable depth. You know what I mean? Even with a fixed ground balance.
Yeah.
Unless it's crazy mineralised.
Yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, we might just draw this. We're getting close. We're well over an hour. Time flies when you're having fun.
I might have to come back next week. We haven't really got through everything we're going to do.
You just like sitting here having a chat.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So we've just scrolled down to my magic number, and the winner this week is David from Mount Gambier.
Oh.
Yeah. So
South Aussie.
South Australia. So David, I'll contact you directly after the show, and that Pro Pointer's on its way to you in South Australia.
Thanks, Garrett Australia.
Yeah, thank you, Garrett. It's fantastic for Garrett to do that, to sponsor the little old show. So
I hope we've covered research pretty comprehensively. If you've got any other questions, just leave them on the feed and we can answer them offline anyway.
Yeah, I normally answer everything offline, and we'll definitely get any questions in the next week or so.
Yeah.
We follow them up.
And then
pretty
our
well.
topic for next week, you put that up probably, and we'll come up with something for next week.
Yeah, well, I haven't really. I've got a couple of ideas, but nothing's really jumping out at me yet. I normally we put it together on Tuesday or Wednesday. I come up with a bit of an idea, and then I'll announce it out on Facebook after that. So we might even get. We might see what you're up to next Friday night, and if you're around,
I'll drop in.
you'll drop in.
Yeah.
So, righto. Well,
Okay.
thanks very much, everyone, for
Thanks for watching.
joining us. It's been very, very good tonight. We've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yep.
And thanks to Garrett, and thanks for Warren for coming along. It's really
No, it's been
appreciated. On a
great.
Friday
Really
night,
enjoyed it. Yeah.
you know, you normally
Normally
be out
on-
partying
yeah, I
on a
am,
Friday
normally.
night. Yeah,
Beach detecting or something.
yeah,
We'll go down there now.
yeah. We might run down the coast now. So, yeah, you might get alive in an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, folks.
Righto.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll put it out again next week, and we'll see you again next